I want to. There's a couple of things here. One is like my stuff is for people who are just they're not they're tired of all of the social media stuff, everyone trying to convince you of stuff. So mine is this is more of like me just helping a person like myself when I was, much younger and much less experienced in this because I had like 9, 10 years where I struggled trying to get results. And so this is how I go about, like, because I still have coaches. I think if there's something that you want to do, it is very valuable to have a coach. So, and even now, like, I know what to do. I've been doing this for a long time, but I still always have a nutrition coach, a strength coach, etc., based on, you know, what what I'm trying to do, or even just like I like to talk about my stuff with somebody. So, it's I'm not by myself. Which is a very underrated thing. I just like the idea of having somebody else who knows the thing and has a similar disposition to be able to discuss things with. So, um, here's how you kind of go about it. What I want to say, number one, is at the end of the day, it is all going to be your responsibility to get results. You are the one who is going to go into the gym or do the exercises. You are the one who is going to choose what and how much food to put in your mouth. And nobody can make you do that. So that's a very important thing to understand that the responsibility falls on you. There's a lot of bullshit out there, and it's not up to like you can't be a victim of like, well, it's just so confusing. If it's something that's important to you, you have to take on that responsibility of being better at filtering information and filtering sources. So, first and foremost, what you gotta think for yourself about is what is it that I want and how do I want it? I'll give you an example of like everybody looking to billionaires for productivity advice and influencers looking for, routines or hacks. Like those, like it sounds cool on the YouTube thumbnail and the title, but those people's things that they're doing are not applicable to you. Vast majority of it. And so like, you know, uh I'll give you the example of my dad. My dad has been extremely successful. He has like a sixth grade education. He came to America. He bought a bunch of businesses. He's bought a bunch of property. Um, does everything that he does, is it perfect? No, of course not. But if you're looking for what was his goal, which was to make a lot of money to give him the freedom and independence to do whatever he wants, if you're looking with that metric, then he succeeded above and beyond. That's the only thing. Outside experts might come in like, oh, you're inefficient in this, and you should have these systems and this, that, and the other, and you need to look at your P&Ls and blah blah blah. Well, but for him, he accomplished the goal that he set out to. He never took woke up, took cold showers, cold plunges, uh, written out a schedule, like journaled, any of these things. I'm not saying any of these things are bad or good, but what I'm saying is the thing that we need to look at is like here is the goal, and then did I accomplish it or not? That's the only thing that actually matters. So, um, when we look at all these productivity hacks and these different routines and who's saying it, you need to first decide how and part of the deciding and discovery of this comes through trial and error. And as you grow, uh, as you mature and learn about yourself, and you try different things, these become more and more clear. One of the reasons, like, I don't have fancy edited videos or like, which I've tried, you know, thumbnails. Like, I literally like have no thumbnails. I'll just leave whatever just came up, right? Is because I don't want to do that. So I know that's not what I enjoy doing. And I know for a fact that the type of person that I like to work with or help, they're not going to have a problem with that. In fact, they're going to be drawn to that fact that I don't have these thumbnails where I'm going like, and then pointing to some like outlandish or like sensationalized words to capture the attention of somebody. Like, I just don't care. Like, if the right person finds it cool, if not, whatever. Um, Business people would be like, "Oh no, but you got to optimize for the first 5 seconds and this and that." That sounds that sounds uh terrible. To do all that, and I'm not saying that that might be the wrong thing for somebody else. Like, yeah, if that's you, then that's your personality. That's fine, and it could work. It would work, right? But for me, I don't want to do that. Similarly, when it comes to training and nutrition, I'm the same way. Like, I don't want super complicated things. I don't want I with the way that I eat and the things that I eat, I don't want to do bore. I want it to be enjoyable. I want it to be convenient, and I wanted to get results. So, which, of course, that's where the burrito diet came from, is me looking at what I was doing, how I was doing, and then pulling the frameworks from that, not creating something that people might get attracted to. So it was, the thing came first, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is how I'm doing it. This is what I'm looking at. So now, when you're going out there and you're looking at information like bodybuilder or health influencer is saying, "Oh, you got to my aura ring and this and that, and like my heart rate variability and this, and you got to do this, and like the optimal angle for the shoulder this, and you got to do." If that is too complicated for you, if you feel uh, an overwhelming or like a feeling of being overwhelmed from that, that's not the right person for you to get your information from. That's not the right source of information for you. There's plenty of people who simplify things, right? They make things more enjoyable. That's who you need to gravitate towards. Um, and just because, so like, now we'll get into the specifics of like, what would we take from bodybuilders or influencers that are extremely lean? Well, we know that the bodybuilders, their objective is, so like I was saying, like with my dad, like his objective is to make a lot of money so that he has the freedom and independence to do what he wants to do. He's successful, so then I can take stuff from him. Um, Now, what what are bodybuilders really, really good at? What is their goal? To get as lean as possible and to get as muscular as possible. So if I want to get lean, yeah, then I know, okay, well, the core, are they successful? Yes. So then let me take their the fundamentals of that, right? And so if I look across bodybuilders, how do they get so lean? Oh, what do you know? They track calories. right? They count calories. So that's valuable information. So I can take that. Now, then this is where people get caught up is like they go, um, they get into the details of like, into the weeds of like optimal volume, optimal training splits, optimal this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Those things are not important because is your goal to be a 220-pound bodybuilder and go on stage? The answer to that is probably going to be no. Um, so I don't need to follow that part. I don't need to have my training look like that. I don't need to have my training be that deep, right? So all you need to do, so if I'm looking at that, okay, well, I want to get lean, and it seems like everybody who gets lean, they count calories or whatever. If they're not counting calories, then it's like, okay, cool, but they know their calories and they stay there and they eat the same amount of food and they eat the same things. So um, I could take that, right? And you could set that up however you want. You could go, I'm just gonna eat the same exact thing every day. So I don't need to count calories every day. But again, I highly recommend counting calories because you learn so much and you have more freedom and flexibility. And then for training, it just all that matters is like, are you doing something? Like it doesn't really matter what you do. Just pick something that's enjoyable and do it. Um, I'm my frameworks that I teach in the burrito diet are meant for you to take and apply in your life with anything. So they also apply. It's like obviously it's about food, which is what is um what is enjoyable and low calorie density. So when I look at it in that way, hold on, we are parking. That framework, high enjoyability, high enjoyment, and whatever the other effective component is, if I combine those, then for training it goes like this. The method of training that would work best for me needs to be high level of enjoyment. It needs to be me squeezing my muscles in some type of way, okay? And it needs to be convenient because if I don't have those pieces, then the probability that I'm going to do it goes down. So just like the food enjoyment matrix, which is high enjoyment and low calorie density, which is a quadrant one food, if it's enjoyable, I'm going to want to eat it and the chance of me doing that thing is going to go up. If it's low calorie density, I'm going to lose fat. If it's convenient, I'm going to have a higher probability of me doing it. So that's the framework, and you take that, you apply it to whatever you want. And for different people, it's gonna look different, right? So anyways, that's kind of like the framework to take when you're looking at stuff, whether it's like how do I how do I choose where to get information from? And then also like applying it to the stuff you're doing. Um, yeah, just some random thoughts. I know like I've seen and talked to so many people um, who want to lose weight, try to lose weight. Um, I've talked to a lot of coaches. I know a lot of my friends are obviously coaches, and the main thing just comes down to that. It's not that complicated. And, like this, I'll say this one last thing about content. You need to remember that content is created for the content creator, to make money. That's not a bad thing. What the reason it's important to know that is if your goal is to lose weight, you need to understand the incentives of the other side. and how they align with your goal. Okay. So most of the stuff that you will see is geared towards trying to appeal to as many people, meaning if you're trying to appeal to many, many people, nuance and subtlety is not going to work. You have to be black or white. You have to create an enemy. You have to create a bad guy, because then people are going to then it's going to divide people, and it's going to attract people who agree with you, and then they can be part of your team against these guys and so on and so forth. And so that type of stuff, that type of thinking is very low quality. And it does not produce results for vast majority of people. So I cannot, like, if you go through all my stuff, like there's content for that I've made for since 2012. Just I don't know, probably definitely hundreds of videos, maybe thousands of pieces of content. And like most of my stuff is very nuanced and subtle, and not which is not going to appeal to a mass audience. And the reason is because I'm not trying to just get as many people as possible by creating an enemy, saying these guys are assholes and this is the right way to do it. Because that's not true. There's a million ways to get lean. I happen to think the best ways are the ones that are enjoyable and convenient. And that's going to be different for each person. So you need to learn to be able to take information and apply it to yourself using those types of filters. That's the same example with the people taking billionaire advice, or like all these billionaires or big entrepreneurs always posting stuff like you have to think about, does this apply to me? Like, does this match up with my unique disposition? Is this enjoyable for me? Like, it's not even, can you get up at 4 a.m. and do this and that? It's like, do you want to? Like, like I said, my dad just likes to get up and go to work. That's the routine. He gets up, he drinks cha, he has his breakfast that my mom makes, and he takes his lunch and he goes to work. That is his routine, and it has yielded phenomenal results, right? So when someone's talking about this complicated nutrition program and like monitoring your aura ring and this and that, I'm like, none of those things are necessary. And if those are not aligned with your unique disposition, it's not going to help you get the goal. The goal wasn't to know your sleep quality and your sleep hours and your HRV and all this stuff and your readiness score. The goal was to get in really good shape. So what do I need to do to that for that? I don't need an aura rig. There's so many things that like, and I'm talking a lot about my personal disposition here as well, but like I've never tracked any of that shit. I've been leaner than 99.9% of people. I've been stronger than 99% of people. I've been more athletic than 99% of people for 15 years. And I was not genetically gifted. I'm 38 years old. Yeah, I'm 38 years old. I am still leaner, stronger, more athletic today than vast, vast majority of people. Um, and like I I don't think I don't think if you observe the results of most people's things that they try and the things that they're listening to, it's like there's not long lasting results, you know, usually because they're making things complicated. Like I know for a fact if I want to achieve my goal, the only thing that I need to do is three things or four things really. But the fourth thing kind of encompasses everything. Number one, count calories. That's how you get lean. And counting calories is not difficult, it's not challenging, it's not complicated. People only make it seem that way. And that's a one perspective to have on it. It's very simple, very easy. Counting calories will make me lose fat. There's no other way around. That's physics, right? Number two is I need to strength train. What does strength training mean? There's a million ways to do it. To me, am I squeezing my muscles on a daily basis in some form or another? That's it. Am I squeezing muscles? Am I exerting myself? Number three, get winded on purpose. So, and again, there's a lot of fun ways to do that. I like to play basketball. Um, or you can even do it like I like to go to CrossFit classes. I like to be around people and do, workouts like that. And then the last thing might be or getting winded on purpose. It can be as simple as getting on a bicycle or a stationary bike or any type of cardio thing, a rower, a ski erg, and just for 1 minute going as hard as you can, get your heart rate elevated on purpose, and then that's it. That's all it takes. And then number four, doing it in a peaceful way. I know those are the only things, a peaceful and enjoyable way. I don't need anything outside of that. No cold plunges, no 8 hours of sleep, no perfect sleep, no like fat loss happens because of those things. That's it. So anyways, I got to get back to doing what I need to do at the stores, got to drop off some stuff here. Um yeah.